Hello,
Hi, how are you?
good.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Mm.
How many will join?
Mm. Mm.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy
you?
Mother's Day.
Are you there, Barb?
Yes, 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 yes. Hi.
There.
Happy Mother's.
Happy Mother's Day. Yes.
I feel like we haven't had a class in a long time.
I, yeah. Oh, it's okay.
So he's not, where is he?
How was your day? How was your day?
It
Day.
was fine, fine. I don't celebrate Mother's Day. I don't believe in it.
Every day.
I don't
Listen,
believe in it. I mean, Hallmark
if
cards
my
aside,
kids, if my kids want to take me out for lunch for the day, why not? With my grandkids.
I was, but that's nice. That's
Yeah,
nice. That's nice. Why not?
why not? Exactly. They make it a special day for that. So
I think it's for people who really don't connect to their mothers, and it compels them,
could be,
to.
could
I
be.
think so. We have
Remember your mother. It's like remember your mother. Remember you have one.
exactly,
I know. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Right, right. Totally. So we sell more cards or what have
Yeah,
you.
sell more cards. Yeah.
I laugh. I think it's funny. Okay, whatever. I said, where's Ernie? Where is he?
He'll be there
We're celebrating Mother's Day.
They're celebrating Mother's Day.
So he wants to go out afterwards, I guess, or
You know, I like that it's 6 o'clock. It's not, I'm not tired, it's like I'm awake.
yes, yes, yeah. So maybe suggest it. This way people want to go out to eat, they could go out
Yeah,
afterwards, right?
yeah, I like it.
So, suggested, Magda.
Yeah.
Hi. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy
Happy
Mother's
Mother's
Day.
Day.
For doing it
Mother's
in,
Day.
No, you know what? I was just saying that I like this time. I don't know if you want to do it in this time. in
you
the
know what?
future.
Our children have to put their children to sleep, so they don't go to dinner at 6.
Understood.
They have to wait
Right.
until their kids are asleep and there's babysitters, so
We-
we go later.
We actually
So
tried to
maybe,
go,
so,
we actually tried to go for brunch. It was completely sold
Right.
out.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
And no,
wow.
but these kids, they like to go out later because their babies have to be asleep.
Right, so if we do it at 6 o'clock, as Magda said, 6 to 7, and then by that time, there, it doesn't have to be Mother's Day. You could go out any Sunday
Right,
evening,
but I
right?
hope that, maybe other people, I hope that, everybody else wants to do it too. Like, I don't want to,
Now,
Well,
you see, you
that-
have,
that'd
you
be
have,
great.
you,
Well,
you have
that's
to ask
this week.
everyone.
We'll
Thank
poll everybody. I think next week we'll go back to the 8 o'clock.
And if there's another,
And
we
then,
will give
and,
a head
and then we'll talk about it more as a
Yeah, 'cause
group.
I don't, yeah.
And see
So
what
wait a
everybody-
second, are we completing, we're completing
Yes.
Melachim,
But can you, like,
Melachim
do a
Aleph,
summary?
right?
We're going to try Chav Beis.
Right,
We're in Perek Chav Beis.
Yeah.
It's the last Perek.
right.
I don't know whether we'll finish tonight. We will probably not,
Yeah.
but probably finish the following week, and we're gonna start Melachim Beis the following. So what I think we should do, I think we learned a few psukim in Perek Chav Beis.
Yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do them, just so we can get back. It's been a couple weeks, it's been Pesach.
Right, it feels like forever.
Yeah, let's get back into it, and I think it'll go better. So we're on Perek Chav Beis. We'll go back to Posuk. Vayeshvu shalosh shanim ein melchama bein Aram uvein Yisrael. So if we remember, Achav did some tshuva, even though the Navi had told him he's going to be destroyed, his family's going to be destroyed, because Achav did some acts of tshuva. Hashem said, I will not do anything to him in the last 3 years of his reign. So from year 19 to 22, there was peace.
Ernie, could you review what sort of tshuva? I forgot. What sort of tshuva did he do?
He was machnia. He was machnia himself in front.
What is Machniim?
He lowered himself. He recognized that he had done wrong, and
So he admitted to it.
he admitted to it. And
Mhm.
Says-
here,
says he slept in sackcloth.
remember, Hashem told Eliyahu Navi, go tell him that because of what you did to Navos, the dogs are going to lick your blood. And Hashem, there was a prediction, Ve'ichrati la'achav mashtin bekir, and I'm going to give your house will be destroyed like the house of Yerovam ben Nevat. So then Pasuk Chav Zayin, Vayikish Shmo Achav et, I mean Chaf Aleph now, Vayikish Shmo Achav et Ramela, Vayikra begadav. He tore his clothing, Vayasim Sakal Psaro, Vayatzom, and he fasted, Vayishkav Basak. So Hashem said to Eliyahu, Hara'ita ki nichna Achav milfanai? Do you see that Achav has humbled himself in front of me? Because of that, he's lo avia ra'a biyamav, but b'mei bno avia ra'al beito. That's how we concluded Perek Chafal. And therefore there was peace. Ein milchama bein Aram uvein Yisrael. But vayi b'shana shlishit, vayerid Yoshaphat melech Yehuda melech Yisrael. Yoshaphat was melech Yehuda. And Yoshaphat was married he married his son Yoshaphat to the daughter of Achav, and he was also the brother-in-law of he was married. Yoshaphat, who was Melech Yehuda, was Achav's brother-in-law, because Yoshaphat was married to Omri's daughter. Omri was the father of Achav. So
To Atalia, to Atalia.
Yehoshaphat and Achav were brother-in-laws. Now, why did Vayered Yehoshaphat Melech Yudal Melech is why? We learned, first of all, they're brother-in-laws. First of all, he had an idea that he's going to try to ma'ached, put together the 10 tribes of Israel with Yehuda. He was a tzaddik, Yehoshaphat.
Can I ask you something? It's interesting, the term they use, Vayered Yehoshaphat. So, you would think that as a king, he would send a messenger. So it's an interesting term, isn't it? Vayered Yehoshaphat. Like it sounds like he physically went to.
He did. He went.
Oh, he did. He physically went
up
himself.
high. So when you go to Shomron,
Yes, of course, right. But he didn't send a shaliach. He went himself, just Oh, interesting. I thought it was an interesting term.
And by the way, we also learned from Chazal that Yehoshaphat was giving Achav malkos, 40 malkos 3 times a day, to help him, to help Achav do tshuva.
Wow.
So there's a reason why Yehoshaphat is coming. The prior kings of Aram, Hadad, or Ben-Hadad, had taken some of the cities of the Galil they took them over to the kingdom of Aram. So Achav says to his servants, we want to take it back. So Achav proposes to Yehoshaphat, I want to enter into a war with Aram. I want to take back the city of Ramot Gilad. I am with you. We learned all of this. This is all review. And why did Yehoshaphat agree? Like we said, his ultimate goal was to unify Judea with Malchus Yisrael. Now, Eliyahu already predicted that Achav was going to die, that there was a Gzeira. Maybe Yehoshaphat didn't hear about it. He had heard maybe that Achav had put on sackcloth and fasted, and they did tshuva. However, Yehoshaphat is a tzaddik. He's not going to do anything unless it's done al pi Navi of Hashem, and not the Nevi'ei Habal that Achav normally trucks around with. He knows that Achav normally doesn't deal with Nevi Hashem, but this time we have to go to a Navi Hashem, Urim V'Tumim, or the Navi, to tell us, are we going to be successful? Vayikbotz Melech Yisrael et HaNevi'im ka'arba me'ot ish. Now Achav gathers 400 Nevi'im. Yonatan ben Uziel says that they were Nevi'ei Sheker. If you remember, there were 400 Nevi'ei Baal and 400 Nevi'ei Asherah. Nevi'ei Baal were already killed by Eliyahu and Har Carmel. So the Meforshim learned that these were the Nevi'ei Asherah that were left, or they're new Nevi'im. So Achav didn't listen to Yehoshaphat's request that he bring Nevi'ei Hashem. Rashi in B'divrei Hayomim, who gives us the same story, says that these were not Nevi'ei Abal, but Nevi'ei Emes. Now, how come they're going to say the wrong thing? A Ruach, I'm not going to say a Ruach is a ghost, but we're going to see soon that there was a spirit that entered these Nevi'im that caused them to say different things.
Ernie, I apologize for interrupting. I thought that they were all saying the same things, and therefore that indicated that they were when they all like kind of programmed and all saying the same thing, that they were Nevi'ah Sheker.
So you see, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm dealing, there is a machlokes. Some say these were Nevi'ah Sheker, that's the prevailing view. But I bring Rashi that these were Nevi'ah Emes as well. And why did they say the wrong thing? Because a Ruach put a Ruach Sheker into them. Now, Yoshaphat immediately recognizes that these are not Nevi'ah Hashem. So, Vayomer Yoshaphat ein po Navi Hashem od v'nidrusha me'oto. He wanted a Navi Hashem. And like we learned, like Barbara remembers, the Gemara, Yoshaphat was there. They were all giving Nevuah b'signon echad. And there's a Gemara that says, two Nevi'im cannot say the same thing. So must be that these were, Yoshaphat understood from there that they were not Nevi'ah Emes. The Rambam says all Nevi'im, except for Moshe Rabbeinu, when they say a Nevuah, it's a mashal, it's a parable, it's a story. Hashem doesn't talk to them clearly, like a person who speaks to a friend, or like we are talking to each other. Only Pe'al Daber was with Moshe Rabbeinu. The Navi has to use his Ruach HaKodesh to understand exactly what Kavon is being told to him. So since he recognized Yoshaphat, that these are Nevi'ah Sheker, by the way they said Nevuah, he immediately again tells Achav, we need Nevi'ah Hashem. So Vayomer B'nai Yisrael Yoshaphat, Od ish echad lidrosh es Hashem me'oto. Yeah, there is a Navi Hashem, but vanis netiv, he hates me. Ki lo yisnabe alai tov. This is the Navi Michayahu, who has already given a bad nevuah to Achav that he's going to die. Michayahu ben Yimla. Vayomer Yoshaphat ayomar melech king. No, you shouldn't say that about the Navi. He's a Navi Hashem, and he's going to tell us the truth. What did Michayahu say in Perek Chav, Pasuk Mem Beis? V'aisa nafshecha tachas nafsho, v'amcha tachas am. Remember, Achav had spared the life of Ben Hadad. At that time, Michayahu told him, your life is going to be taken for his life. Now, previously, Michayahu had given good nevuas, that he was going to be successful in battle. So it wasn't always bad. But Yoshaphat tells Achav, listen, a Navi Hashem is going to say over what the Hashem puts into his mouth, and he has no ratzon in the matter. Okay. They sent a messenger to go bring the Navi Michayahu. Umelech Yisrael v'Yoshaphat melech Yudah yoshvim ish al kiso. The Israelite king, the Judean king, are each sitting on their thrones. Milubashim gadim begoren. They are wearing their royal garb, and they're sitting. It says here, goren is like a place where they thresh the wheat. And this is Petach Shar Shomron. This is near the gate of his capital city, Shomron. The Chol Nevi'im is Nabim Lifneim, and the Nevi'im are there, and they're saying Nevuah. Now, a threshing place is not in a city. It's outside the city. But because they had enemies, Aram, and he's a king, he's not going to stray too far away from the city. He's going to stay near the Pesach Hashar. Now, in Chulin, the Gemara in Chulin, Hey Amid Aleph, says, my Goren. What do you mean, Ilem Goren? If we talk about a threshing place, Atu Shar Shomron Goren Hava? This is the gate of Shomron, it's not a threshing place. Ela Ki Goren, Rashi says, Ki Goren ayu yoshvim bechibo v'reus uvaguda achaz kesanedrin, shein choshtin zed zed. So, when Beis Din and the Sanhedrin, when you had 71 people, they sat in a semicircle. Harold and Mario know this from our Gemara. They didn't sit in a circle because they always needed a place to leave. So they sat.
Magda knows too. Magda also knows.
Magda knows too from the daf as well. That Ditnan Sanhedrin Isaac Echatzi Goren Agula. The Sanhedrin was shaped semicircle. Kedei sheyuroin zedze. So each person would see each other. Liois shoymim ish as chavero. So they could speak face to face, umizvakin zedze, and debate. Ad shetet say hora akalacha. Sheilu hayoshvin kishura. If they sat in a straight line, ein b'nei rosh hashur, roin b'nei sof shur, and you couldn't see each other. And a full circle, you need a place to come and go. So that's the reason this is mentioned here, to show the achdus between Malchus Yehuda and Malchus Yisrael. And there's a debate here, does a Melech Yisrael have the din of a Melech al pi Torah? The answer is yes, we learned this before. Because you see, they were treated equally. One was not greater than the other. The Ran says the same thing. So does the Ramban. They didn't have Meshicha, the Melech Yisrael, like the Melech Yehuda. They didn't have anointment with only the Beis David had that. But in terms of how you treated them, they were all treated equally. Pasuk Yud Aleph. Vayaslo Tzidkiyahu ben Knana Karnei Barza. Now, Tzidkiyahu is one of the Nevi'ah Baal. And he created what looked like horns made out of steel. The Remez were two kings together, and they're going to defeat Aram. The Vayomer Koamar Hashem be'ela t'nagach et Aram ad kalotam. This Tzidkiyahu, the Nevi'ah Baal, said, with these metal horns, you will gore Aram until they're destroyed. Now, it says in the bracha for Yosef, in the Zosa bracha, B'chor shoro hadar lo, the karnei re'em karnav. So this is the bracha for Shevet Yosef, which is the Shevet that Achav comes from. Now this is all sheker. Tzidkiyahu is a Navi sheker, but he's sort of playing up to Achav and saying that you will be successful. And what is a Navi sheker? Like it says in Sanhedrin, Hamisnabi mashalo shama. Somebody says over a prophecy that he never heard, and Tzidkiyahu never heard this. Kigon Tzidkiyahu ben Knana. The Gemara brings this Tzidkiyahu as an example of a Navi sheker. Now, what made Tzidkiyahu say this? The Gemara says, Ruach Navos Atita. The spirit of Navos, who was killed by Achav, went into him, because in a few psukim we're going to learn, in the heavenly court, Vayomer Hashem mi fatet Achav. Who's going to seduce Achav to go into battle? The Yal v'yipol b'rabos Gilad. Vayetzei aruach v'yamot lifnei Hashem vayomer ani afatenu. A spirit said, I will seduce him. And my ruach, on Rav Yochanan, rucho shel Navos HaYisraeli. This is the spirit of Navos HaYisraeli. V'chol HaNeviim nibim kein leimor. The other 400 Nevi'im said the same thing. Alei Ramot Gilad v'atzlach, go up to Ramot Gilad, you'll be successful. V'nasan Hashem biyad HaMelech. Hashem will give you, and Hashem will give Aram into your hands. They used the Shem Hashem. They didn't just say Ad Hashem. And the Nevi'ah Sheker would say prophecies that they knew the king wanted to hear. They had seen the last couple of wars, Achav had won the battles. And he did tshuva. So they assumed he's going to have Hatzlacha. They all said Signon Echad. That's how Yoshaphat knew, like Barbara said, that the new Sheker. Yud Gimel. V'hamalach asher alach likro Michayahu. They had sent a messenger to bring the true Navi Hashem Michayahu. Diber elav lemor. He told the messenger told Michayahu, Hinei na divrei neviim pecha tov lamelech. These Nevi'im have all spoken the same. They're giving him good news. This messenger sort of gave Michayahu a hint, you better say the same thing. However, Vayomer Michayahu Chai Hashem, Ki es asher yomar Hashem elai oso adaper. By the life of God, I am only going to speak what Hashem tells me to speak. So Michayahu is in the breach, brave. Vayavol HaMelech, he comes to Achav. Vayomer HaMelech elav, Michayahu, Hanelech el Ramot Gilad HaMilchama im nechdal. Should we go and do battle with Ramot Gilad or should we not? Vayomer elav alei v'atzlach, v'nasan Hashem biyad HaMelech. He said, go up, you'll be successful. Hashem will give you the victory. You notice, though, he didn't use the name of Hashem here. Right now, he's not speaking b'shem Hashem. He told him, he gave him like a bracha, go up and have success. And he noticed, he didn't say Alu. Remember, he's speaking, Yoshaphat, HaMelech is there as well. He's giving a hint to the Melech Yoshaphat that you should probably not go with Achav. Achav's a Russia. I'm only speaking to Achav, not to you. So, Vayomer elav HaMelech, Achav responds. There's a machlokas. The Radak says here, when it says Melech, it refers to Yoshaphat. That he understood from the language of Michayahu that he didn't use this name of Hashem. No. Vayavola melech, vayomer elav Michayahu nelech ramot, vayomer elav alei. He didn't say vayomer Hashem elav. He said v'nasan Hashem biyad HaMelech. But he didn't speak in the name of Hashem. So the Radak learns that when it says here vayomer elav HaMelech, it's Yoshaphat who's speaking to him. That he didn't mention the name of Hashem in his nevuah. That he's not speaking Ko Amar Hashem. That's how a Navi usually speaks. Thus says God. So he says the Radak, I want now the Nevi'im to speak only emes. The Ralbag learns that when it says Vayomer Melech, it means Achav. Also, he recognized that he didn't say it b'shem Hashem. He knew the Navi Hashem did not like him because Izebel, his wife, had killed them all. He still wanted to hear in this situation emes. Okay, Yud Zayin. Vayomer Ra'iti et Kol Yisrael. So this is the nevuah. Ra'iti et Kol Yisrael nefotzim el harim. I see the Jewish soldiers scattered among the mountains. Katzon asher ein lahem roeh. Like sheep without a shepherd. Now, who's the shepherd of the Jewish people? The king. So there's already a hint here that he's going to die. Vayomer Hashem, now he's speaking in the name of Hashem, Lo adonim la'eleh, yashuvu ish leveito b'shalom. That they're not going to have any masters. again implying that Achav is going to die in the battle, only him. And all other people are going to go home b'shalom. The Malbim asks, how could the Navi, he already had this Nevuah, how could he hold back the original Nevuah and say something else? There's a halacha, Navi HaKovesh Nevuah S'chayv Misa. A Navi that hold back his Nevuah is deserving of death. So maybe he was giving, so the original was not a nevuah, it was just sort of a bracha of Alev HaTzlach. Now, what about this language of Yashuvu Leveito Bishalom? We've learned this before. It says in Bracha Samech Dalet, Amra Vavina Alevi, Hanifter Mechaveiro, when you leave your friend, Ayomar Lo Lech Bishalom, don't say Lech Bishalom, Ela Lech Lishalom. Shara Yitro Sha'amar Lo Moshe Lech Lishalom, Alav Yitzliach. When he said goodbye to Moshe, he said Lech Lishalom, go two peace. They were successful. David Sha'amar Lo Lav Shalom Lech Bishalom. David, who said to Avshalom, go two peace, Avshalom ended up hanging himself. Similarly, Aniftam and Amace, when you say goodbye to a mace, Ayumar lo lech l'shalom, el lech b'shalom. Because it says, Ve'ata tavo lavotecha b'shalom. Since, so the Orach Chaim says, since Achav, who was the Melech, is going to die in the war, that's a bad thing, so that's why it was said b'shalom. Melech Yisrael Yoshafat. So Achav says, Yoshafat, halo amati elecha, Lo yitnabeh alai tov ki imra. I told you, these Nevi'ei Hashem are not going to say good nevuos on me because he hates me, he hates Izevel. And this he did not hear from Hashem. Vayomer lachein shma dvar Hashem. So again, Michayahu says, listen to the word of Hashem. Ra'isi es Hashem yoshev al kiso. I see Hashem sitting on his throne. V'chol tzva shamayim omed alav. And the heavenly host is surrounding him, mi mino umi smolo, from his right and from his left. So Chazal, Rashi brings v'chiyech smola malo. Is there such a thing as left in Shamayim? It says in Tehillim, Yemin Hashem Romeima, Yemin Hashem Osechayu. Hashem only has a right. It says in Az Yashir, Yemincha Hashem Nedoi Bakoach, Yemincha Hashem Tiratz Oyev. Ela Elu Maiminim Ve'elu Masmilim. Maiminim Melamdim Tzlus. Masmilim Melamdim Choyvay. There was a heavenly court. Some were arguing for the merit of Achav. Some were arguing that Achav should be judged harshly. So this vision that Michayahu is seeing is the judgment that Achav is going to be mechayev him or to pater him. The Mabim says differently that the din of Achav had already been nigbar. Remember, Eliyahu was already told he was going to be killed. Then there's a steer a little bit. The Yerushalmi in Sanhedrin says, Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't judge by himself. Because it says, from our pasuk, Elu matim lekav zchus, elu matim lekav choifa. Comes out that when Hashem judges, it's not by himself. Like it says in Bereshis, Na'aseh Adam b'tzalmenu kidmusei, let us make man. Or it says by the Tower of Bavel, Hava ner da, let us go down. On the other hand, in Avos, it says, who are a human judge, who are ya omer, Bishwal Rabbi Yossi, who are ya omer, alti dan yechidi. You shouldn't judge by yourself. Ain't dan yechidi elechad. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu is done by himself. So one Gemara seems to be a steer to the other. So it's machlokas Chazal, whether he's dan yechidi or not. So Vayomer Hashem, mi fatet Achav, in his heavenly court, he said, who's going to go seduce Achav to convince him via al v'yipol b'Ramot Gilad, to go up and do battle so that he will fall in Ramot Gilad. Vayomer zebecho v'zeh omer becho. One malach said, I will go. Another malach said, I will go. The Radak brings the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Kuf Beis Amud Beis. Rav Nachman, Akav Shokulaya. Achav was 50-50. 50% good, 50% bad. Mechza avoines, mechza zechuyos. Meaning, when Hashem had to say who's going to seduce Achav to choose badly, so it wasn't easy to punish him. So the Gemara doesn't understand. So it's hard to understand. The Gemara says, "B'chol yom hayta shokela shiklei zav l'avodah zarah." Achav every day would weigh out gold to give to avodah zarah. At time in shokolai, and you're saying it's 50-50? So the Gemara says, Achav vatrin b'mamonahai. Achav was very generous. He gave freely of his money, particularly to Talmidei Chachamim. Umitoch she'ena Talmidei Chachamim minchasav kippur lo mechza. 50% of his averos were atoned for because of the tzedakah he gave. So it wasn't clear. Should he be punished or not? The Radak brings from the Rambam himself. The Rambam writes, the when the Averos and the merits of Achav were read in front of Hashem, they couldn't find a sin that would definitively prosecute him, except Eladmei Navos, the blood of Navos Israeli that Achav had caused to be murdered. And that's why in the next pasuk it says, "Vayetzei Ruach v'yaman lifnei Hashem." Whose Ruach is that? Ruach Navos. Let's look at the next pasuk. Vayetzei Ruach v'yaman lifnei Hashem v'yomer ani afaten. So the spirit of Navos said, "I will seduce him." Vayomer Hashem elav bama. This Aveira of killing Navos is what's going to tip the scales. Rabbeinu Bachai says, "Choimer achet shel arigas Navos, lefi she'oven haretzicha in kamo b'chol averos me'aver shebeino l'chavero." There is no greater sin than murder when you have sins between man and man. And that's why this was the final blow. And was a midah keneged midah. Remember, how did Navos get killed? Through Edu Sheker. So here too, this Ruach is going to go into the Nevi'im and make them say Sheker as well. Just like he fell through Edu Sheker, Sheker is going to cause Achav's downfall. So the pasuk Chav Beis Vayomer Eitzei Vayiti Ruach Sheker B'fiv Kol Neviot. I will serve as that spirit of Sheker in all the Nevi'im. Vayomer Tefateh V'gam Tuchal Tzei Va'aseichen. Go and do it. But notice it says Tzei. Hashem kicks Navos out of his mechitza. He agrees to it, but there was a taina against Navos. Because Navos is sort of revenging his kas against Acha. And he could have done it, say the Meforshim, in a way that didn't involve lying. He could have said like this: you're going to win against Aram. That in all the battles, you also could have fallen, but you won. Now anyone can fall in battle, but you should go into battle because of the covenant of the Am. That means he could have come up with other rationales as to why Achav should lead the people in battle. They didn't have to say the lie. That's what the Marsha asked. I mean, if Hashem wants Achav to go to be killed, then why was it held as a bad thing for Navos? He says, same in Mechitzasi, you should leave my Mechitza. So, because he could have done the seduction to get him to go, could have been through MS and not through Sheker. So we see the power of, MS versus Sheker. Chav Gimel, Vata. Hinei nasan Hashem ruach sheker b'fi kol neviyacha eile. V'Hashem diber alecha ra. So now Michayahu is speaking in front of Achav. The fact that the Nevi'im have told you to go and you can be successful, that's all false. Vayigash Tzidkiyahu ben Knana, Vayaket Michayahu lalechi. This Nevi'ei Abal, Tzidkiyahu, comes and strikes Michayahu on his cheek. Vayomer Eze Ova Ruach Hashem Itila Berosach. I am the head of the Nevi'im. What kind of spirit is going to come to you that you're going to see this vision? Hashem's going to speak to you and not to me? Vayomer Michayahu Incharu Eba Yomahu. That on the day of the battle, you will see my nevuah will come true because Achav will be killed. And you'll have to hide yourself from the people because they're going to want to kill you because of the death of Achav, because you promised that he would go and be successful. Vayomer Melech Yisrael kachas Michayahu. Achav gives a command that they should take Michayahu the Navi and put him in jail with Ammon and Yoash, who are officers of the king. Put this Navi into prison. It's not the first Navi that's going to be put into prison. Yirmiyahu Navi is going to be put into prison when the people, are not happy with what he says to them. And he gives instructions. Vachilu lechem lachatz umayim lachatz. Feed him only bread and water. Ad bo'i v'shalom, until I come return, and until I come safely back from the battle. Again, the Abarbanel says Achav didn't believe Michayahu because previously Michayahu told him, because you saved Ben Hadad, you're going to die. But nothing had happened. So Achav had a lot of confidence in himself. Not only that, if Michayahu was a Navi Emes, and this Tzidkiyahu slapped him, so the hand that slapped him would have dried up, which happened to, remember, Yeravam. The same thing happened to Yeravam. So Achav didn't believe the nevuah of Michayahu that he alone was going to be killed, everybody else is going to be saved. The other thing, Eliyahu had given a nevuah that Achav's blood was going to be licked by dogs in the same place where he killed Navos. He was killed in Shomron. Here, Michayahu was saying, you're not going to come back from Ramot Gilad. Now, Eliyahu was known as a Muchzik Navi, was known much more as a emistic Navi. So that more than Michayahu. So that's why Achav, up until now, thinks that Michayahu is a Navi Sheker. So, Vayomer Michayahu, Im Shav Tashuv B'Shalom, listen, you Achav, if you come back alive, then that's proof that Lo Diber Hashem Bi, that my nevuah was not correct. Vayomer Shimu Amim Kulam. This is also Michayahu saying. He wants the people to hear this, and he announced it to everyone, that you'll see, if Achav doesn't come back, then I was the correct Navi. People ask a question, the Kliyakar asks, it's not correct, l'chora, what Michayahu said, because the Rambam says like this, in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, Divrei Puronoi Shanavi Oimer Kigon, Sheyomer Ploni Yomus, O Shana Ploni Rav, O Melchama V'chayotzu B'dvarim Elu. If a Navi gives bad news, such and such person is going to die. This year is going to be a drought. Im lo ondu dvarav ein bezeh koshel v'oso. If bad things don't come about, that's not proof that he's not a Navi. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu Erech HaPayim, Rav Chesed, right? What happened to Yonah when he gave prophecy on Nineveh? They did tshuva. Efshir sasu tshuva. V'nisach lem kanshe Nineveh. Now, im iftiach al tova, if a Navi gives prophecy about something good and it doesn't come, then he's a Navi Sheker. So it's a little puzzling how Michayahu was able to use this as a test. So, answers the Kliyakar, Kiven da'averis shemisas achab nigzor laisarigas novos. The sin that has sealed the decree of Achab, which was the murder of Navos, this is an avera between human beings. The lo shayich sheyoshev alav b'li shenavos yimcholo. The kiven de kvar meis heich yimcholo. Right? Why do we on Yom Kippur, we know Yom Kippur is miskaper for avonos that we did between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But we have to go up to our friends and ask forgiveness from our friends. So this is not something that he could do tshuva on because Navos has already died. Now, how do you do tshuva? You have to take 10 people, you go to somebody's grave, and you can ask for tshuva from a grave even after they died. Vayal Melch Yisrael v'Yoshafat Melch Yehuda Ramot Gilad. So it doesn't say Vaya Alu, even though both Achav and Yoshafat went to do the battle. It says Vayal. 2 kings. Number 2, Yoshafat heard from the Navi that he's going to be killed. And really Hashem doesn't want this battle. So what's he going up there? Yehoshaphat. Why is Yehoshaphat joining Achav?
Mhm.
He hears what the Navi says, the Navi Hashem. So Yehoshaphat is a tzaddik. What's he going along with Achav for? So some learn that the reason they used Vayal, because each went with their own reason. Abba Barnel says Achav went, he didn't believe in what Michayahu said. because he thought Micha was a Navi Sheker, that he's going to come back intact. Yoshaphat understood that the Nevuah was only on Achav, not on him. Everybody else is going to come back in peace. So it wasn't said to him specifically that he shouldn't go. And that's why he went to fulfill the promise he made to Achav when he said, Kamoni kamocha, kami kamecha. He said, I'm going to go with you and my people and my horses. And Yehoshaphat was L'Shem Shamayim. He wanted to be Ma'ached, Malchus Yisrael and Malchus Yehuda. As long as the Navi didn't tell him specifically not to go, he thought it was a mitzvah to go. On the other hand, we're going to see there was a little bit of a time on Yehoshaphat that he did go, because he's Meschaber Rishoim. He made Shidduchim with him. Says the Chazal going to say that there was a Gzeira that Yehoshaphat should die as well because of sticking with the Rishoim. Lamed. Vayomer Melech Yisrael Yehoshaphat. So Achav says to Yehoshaphat, listen, itchapeis v'ava b'milchama. We should put on disguises. We should not wear our royal robes. That's I'm going to do that, but you can wear your royal robes. Right? Itchapeis Melech Yisrael v'ava b'milchama. Achav dressed like a commoner.
He was the enemy. He was the actual enemy, was he not, Ernie? There wasn't, Yehoshaphat was not a target. Achav was. So he had to disguise himself.
Right, correct. So Achav wanted to change his garment so they wouldn't recognize it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You don't have to fear, he told Yehoshaphat, you can wear your regular clothes. And the Navi didn't say anything bad about you. And there was a covenant between Aram and Yehuda. So they were at peace with each other. But not only did he disguise himself, Achav, but he didn't go at the head of the army. By the way, the Malbim learns that Aram had spies in the Jewish camp. And the spies related what the Navi said, that only the king is going to be killed, nobody else. And therefore, he knew that he was going to be a special target. Umelech Aram tziva et sarei harechav asher lo. So the king of Aram gave orders to his chariot drivers, Shalishim u'shnaim lemor. Shlishim u'shnaim lemor. He had 32 brigades of chariots. Lo tilachamu et katon v'gadol. Don't do battle with the people. Ki im et melech Yisrael levado. Just target Achav melech Yisrael. And again, Meforshim say he had heard the prophecy through spies and that he would be successful. But more than that, he would not be successful. Vayhi kirot sarei harechav et Yehoshaphat. These charioteers, the first person they come into contact with is Yehoshaphat melech Yehuda. But they didn't realize, Hema amru ach melech Yisrael. They thought maybe because he's wearing a royal robe that he's melech Yisrael. Vayasru alav lilachem, two important words. Vayizak Yehoshaphat. Yehoshaphat David to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Some say, according to Pashut Pshat, he called out to his bodyguards to come and help him. In Divrei Yomim, it says, Vashem Azaro, Shalohi mitu tekef besuvam alav, that he was not killed. But we see from here that there was a gzeira that he should be killed because he was choite by associating with Achav the Rasha. It's from the Sota, Gemara Sota, Yud Beis. Kiven shahalach Yoshafat Melch Yudah im Achav Melch Yisrael aromat gilad nigzera gzeira al Yoshafat le'arei. A gzeira came out against Yoshafat that he should be killed. Roy hayal hareg b'osashah. Ela melamed shebeschar zaka talalo akotsuv sheva shonim. Vaya monim livno. He was given 7 more years of life because of this tefillah. Some say because the kavanah of Yoshafat was l'shem shamayim that he wanted to be misached Malchus Yisrael, Malchus Yehuda. Okay, they all of a sudden recognize through his voice that he's not Melchis, that he's not Achav, and he's only surrounded by Judean soldiers, so they left him alone. Lamed Dalet. This is the penultimate moment when Achav is killed. The ish mashach bakeshet letumo. An unknown person launched an arrow, not against Achav. Nobody killed Achav b'chavona. He wasn't recognizable. He was dressed as a regular soldier. But some will say it was friendly fire. It was even a Jewish arrow. Vayaket Melech Yisrael ben Advakim uben Ashirian. He was wearing some kind of armor, and there are joints in the armor that allow you to move. And the arrow came right in the hole and injured him. He told his driver, "Get me out of here because I've been injured." It turns out mortally. However, again, throughout these prakim, we see Achav is depraved, and on the other hand, Achav is courageous. Achav stood up tall in his chariot so that the Jewish people would not lose hope. However, Vayamat ba'erev, Vayatzek dama makal chet harechev. He bled out, and he died that night, and the chariot was covered with blood. Vayavor harina b'machaneh, and song broke out. Kivo Hashem eshlemor, ish el iro v'ish el artso. Everybody went back home. There's no more need to fight. The king is dead. And only very few casualties occurred. Chazal say, Uvavad Rishoim Rina. When Rishoim fall, there is happiness. That's what the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Lamites Amid Beis. Rashi says there, V'haya olam etzapeh matai tavo arina ibudo shel Achav. When Achav will be killed. Uchshenerag avrav luzkar rina b'fi hakol. Ba'avod Achav v'nami rina. Now, I'm going to save this until next week. We're going to learn some Chazal. Is HaKadosh Baruch Hu happy when Rishonim fall? Not always. So we will conclude this amazing Sefer Melachim, God willing, next week. And maybe we'll start Melachim Beis. Any questions, comments, or aros?
Ernie, the only question I have, thank you, is how did they recognize him by his voice? They saw that.
How do they recognize that Yehoshaphat?
Yeah, Yehoshaphat.
was not
Yes,
Achav?
I didn't understand that.
So I saw some say through his voice.
What does that mean? How do they know what his voice?
Remember, there were very good relations between Yehoshaphat and Aram. The
Ah,
king had
but the-
visited Jerusalem. He may have
but the-
visited Aram, so he was known.
but these were the officers. You mean officers who were close
Yeah.
to Melech Haram. So he must have had a distinctive voice.
distinctive,
or
or they
some-
saw that he was surrounded by Judean soldiers, not.
Well, that would have been, so that's something different, right? So that I understand. That would be an indication. But I
And
didn't
maybe they
understand.
knew his voice because he had been, either he had
Yes.
visited or.
Or there was something very
officers had
distinct,
visited
something
Jerusalem.
very distinctive about it.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.